evening and welcome to Aging Matters, a program sponsored by Berks County Area Agency on Aging. Berks County Area Agency on Aging is located at 633 Court Street on the 8th floor here in Reading. Today we have a wonderful and very enthusiastic program. Food, what food to choose? That's going to be our topic today. And we have a guest from Advantage Whole Health Network. Her name is Cheryl Goff. Thank you, Cheryl, for being with us here today. Cheryl is the executive director, as I mentioned, from Advantage Whole Health Network. And yes, you probably think, who are you? My name is Carmen Colon, and I am the community outreach and education coordinator with Berks County Area Agency on Aging. During the month of March, we celebrate several programs, activities. We have several awareness. And for example, like multiple sclerosis awareness, social worker month, the Red Cross month. So today's topic, it's going to be what food to choose based on National Nutrition Month. Once again, thank you for being here, Cheryl. Cheryl, you know that being healthy and following a good nutrition guide helps us live stronger, sharpen our mind, builds us, let us live longer. But it also helps us prevent diseases such as diabetes, heart problems, high blood pressure, and so on and so on and so on. But I think that at times it becomes a little bit complicated because we hear of all these diets and all these concepts of, for example, the vegan, the microbiotic, the organ diet, the organic, the gluten-free, and sometimes you hear the GF, and of course that's gluten-free, but there's so many diets out there that it becomes a little bit more complicated when you really want to choose a specific diet, good nutrition. But then not only do you have that complication to choose which one, but then you have the financial part, your pocket, because you want to have a healthy nutritious diet. You would like to, in some instances, spend, but not so much. So let's start, Cheryl, with whole food. Can you tell me, can you explain to us so we could start getting like the basics of what is whole food?
Well, there's so much information out there today on nutrition and how to eat healthy, and we hear so much about it, and it tends to be a little confusing for a lot of people, as well as hard. Some people find it very hard to keep a diet going or a healthy eating plan, and I actually don't like the idea of a diet. I prefer a healthy eating plan, and I also don't like to talk about what you can't eat, but I'd rather talk about what you can eat.
Sounds a good idea.
Yes, because I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, but for me, when somebody says I can't do something, that just makes me want to do it all the more.
It's true.
And so we have found a way that a lot of our national organizations that promote healthy lifestyles and healthy eating have been talking more and more about, and that is utilizing a very simple way of choosing your foods, what foods you should eat, and that is utilizing, trying to choose as many whole foods as you can and place those in your diet. Today, most of the things that we as Americans eat would not be considered a whole food because they've been altered in some way or another. And so when we talk about whole foods, to me it can be kind of an easy way to think of what foods do I choose for health.
Right. And backtracking our introduction here, I want our audience to know before we continue with the whole food and the good, the better, and which is the best. Cheryl Goff, who is executive director with Advantage Whole Health Net, she has over 30 years of nursing experience with health education and lifestyle management. So that's why you're able to today bring us up to date on what to eat or what to choose.
Yes.
Yes. So now that we know what are whole food, right? Can you give us example of what to choose from the good?
Yes.
I know there's some better ones, and probably the best one. Those
Right.
are probably the ones we don't choose, but
Right. And it makes it a little hard. And I think what I'll do is backtrack a little bit and describe a little bit more what I mean by a whole food.
great.
And if we have, I think we have a slide there, if we can bring up the first one.
Yes.
I just kind of call this back to basics and what is a whole food? And we just kind of look at the basics. But where did it grow someplace? Okay, if you pick up a box of cereal on the shelf, did it grow that way? Okay, so when we talk about a whole food, we're talking about it coming in its natural state. Has there anything been added to it or removed from it or done to it?
Like pesticides or
Yes,
anything
or
else, chemicals.
even, we'll even talk about a little bit more about what I mean
Great.
by adding to it. And it can be even sometimes natural foods, or what we might think as natural foods, can be added to whole foods, which makes it no longer a whole food.
Exactly.
Have we added sugar to something,
Okay.
which makes it then no longer a whole food? Have we added butters or oils or fats or anything? So how did it grow? How are you eating it? Did it come out of the ground that way, or did it come from its source that way? So that's what we mean when we talk about a whole food.
Okay. So can for example, I know you have some slides also on how to choose from the good
Right.
and the better. So can you give us like an example? Like if we have 3 choices, which would be the
Sure.
best choice out of those 3?
Sure. And I like to talk, when we talk about whole foods, is good, better, and best choices. And so we start with a whole food, and that's always your best choice.
That's the best.
That is the best.
Okay.
When we start adding a few more ingredients to it, well, maybe not so good.
No, okay.
And then as we add even more ingredients, or else take some ingredients out, we have an even poorer choice. And we just showed up on the slide there. You saw 3 examples of how we eat corn. You saw an ear of corn
Yes.
there on the example, and that would be considered a whole food. Nothing's been added and nothing's been taken away.
Now, how about if I put like butter? You know how we do it on the grill and
Right.
add some butter and
Sure.
and
That's
salt
going to
to it.
enhance. That's going to enhance the flavor, and that
Okay.
is certainly not a problem unless we're adding a lot of butter and a lot of fat and a lot of calories that way, and fats.
That's where the problem comes.
Yes, but corn is in this. Even if we're adding toppings to it, is still considered a whole food.
Okay.
Because that particular food has been unaltered from the way it grew. Okay.
Now I see you have 2 other choices there too.
Right. Corn chips are down at the bottom, and we all
yummy.
love corn chips. Put a little
Yes.
cheese on them, whatever, to make some good nachos.
Yes.
They might be a better choice than the corn syrup we have up in the corner there, but they're still not a great source because they have a lot of added fat. They also have added preservatives, and they are not in a natural state. So you are going to actually get a lot more calories from eating a much smaller portion.
That was
of
my
those.
next question. Yes, because you could
Right.
get like a teaspoon, but have all this amounts of calories in that product.
Right.
Okay.
And yes, and this would be another example. You see on the screen there are some fruits.
I like the middle one,
Oh yeah, I know. That's everybody's favorite way of getting fruit.
but that's not the best choice.
That's
though.
not the best choice. Okay, if that is the only way you are willing to eat fruit, then maybe we'll talk about it as being better than no fruit at all. But still, the added fat and sugar that are in there in the fruit has certainly taken away some of its value, and also added a tremendous amount of calories. 100% fruit juice is another way to get fruit, and it would probably be a better choice than the pie,
Okay.
but not as good as the natural fruit. It will not have the fiber because the fiber has been removed
Okay.
as we make the juice.
Mm-hmm.
It also, because it's so condensed
Mm-hmm.
with the juice, that it will have a lot more calories in
Okay.
a serving. You
Mhm.
may get as much as 120 calories in a little
Just
cup.
in a small, something similar to
Something
this one that
similar
you
to
have
this
here.
size, right.
That size.
Yes.
And it takes a lot to burn that little cup.
It takes a lot to burn that little cup, and that bowl of fruit would have more closer to 50 calories.
50.
So you can see the difference. Not only are we getting a healthier and getting more nutrition, but we're also cutting calories at the same time.
So it's advised then that if you could eat the whole, the natural, it's
Right,
that's the best.
as much as you can. As much as you can. Now, we all know that eating that way, everything is going to be very difficult.
Yes,
and
it
there are
is.
some times that we do eat things that are less whole for us, but they would not be as good of a choice. Okay.
Now, when we hear whole food, I don't know, but for me, it sounds similar to organic. Or is it similar, or what's the difference between one and the other?
Okay. Whole food and organic food are two totally different terms.
Okay.
Okay. Whole food can be grown either organically or inorganically. We've talked about what a whole food is. An organic food would be something that is grown without pesticides or herbicides, or else, and even fertilizer. We would use natural fertilizer instead of a chemical fertilizer. So we may use a good old cow manure for fertilizer on organic things versus a chemical fertilizer. And organic food there is a good place for it because we are not using those things, those more harmful chemicals. But it certainly does reduce sometimes the amount of food that is able to be produced. Okay, and most organic foods have to be licensed to be organic.
Okay, great.
So you need to be careful of the label organic
Labels.
and make sure they are.
Okay, we'll be right back.
You're watching bctv.org. Be informed, be involved, be a member. For membership information, go to www.bctv.org/support/membership. For other stories and information, go to bctv.org.
Welcome back to Agent Matters. Our topic today is what food to choose. And our guest today is Cheryl Goff. We are having this very nice conversation here about what food to choose, whole food, organic food. So now, what alternative food choices do I have?
Well, there's a lot of things that you can choose in foods. And a lot of it has to do with the choices that we make when we purchase our food from the grocery store. And that is where we first start making those choices. I usually will tell you that one of the easiest ways to shop for whole foods or your best choices in foods is start in the perimeter or the outside of the grocery store. And choose foods from there first, because if you take a look at the grocery stores, when you walk in, most grocery stores are set up with the produce and the meats and the whole grains sitting around the perimeter of the store. And your more processed foods are on the shelves in the center of the store. So I will usually tell you to go ahead and start by walking around the edges. So start in your produce aisle. Okay. Choose your apples, your bananas, your lettuces. Those are a whole food. They haven't had anything added to them. And so you can start that way. Get creative with things that you're willing to try. Try something different. A lot of us have never seen, even when I go to the grocery store, there are some fruits and vegetables that I have never seen before.
And that happens to me. I go to the grocery store, to the supermarket, even to the farmer's market, which is a great place to purchase your fruits and vegetables. And I look at them and I'm like, okay, what can I do? How can I cook this vegetable. And what I tend to do is, okay, I put it back down and then I go home and do a research. Okay, how can I cook the food? How to prepare it? And by the time I go to the grocery store again, I forget. I forgot, how
Right.
to prepare it, and I just keep on with the next item.
Right. Well, one of the easiest ways that you start with fruits and vegetables is just simply cutting it up.
Now when we at the supermarket or location where we're buying our fruits and vegetables, how much of our shopping cart should be full with it?
Well, we actually use what we call the idea of a plate.
Okay.
Okay, and if you think of your plate, 3/4 of your plate should be filled with fruits, vegetables, and grains.
3/4. Okay.
3/4 of your
Okay.
plate. And at least half the plate should be fruit and vegetables. And we usually say no more than 1/4 of your plate should be like a starch, like a grain or a pasta or a potato. And then no more than 1/4 of your plate should be your protein or your meat.
Wow. So, can you give me some like protein sources so I can have an idea
Sure.
which
Sure.
proteins to get and what's the purpose and how does it benefit me from eating the protein?
Well, there's several different types of proteins that you can choose from. And again, we think of the good, better, or best, or thinking of the whole food.
Okay.
So again, if you're looking at choosing a meat product for something, you're obviously going to want to choose a chicken breast.
Okay.
Okay, would be your best option, or over chicken fingers.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, you had mentioned at the beginning that if we add, for example, butter or anything, would that alter it too much? Or
You are still, by adding things on top, that's more of like a sauce, that's more of a seasoning, it's going to add calories.
okay.
But it will not take away from the nutritional value of the food.
So, what benefits would I get, like for example, from the protein?
Protein is something that our bodies need to build muscle. We don't need a lot of protein, actually.
Okay.
Most of us are used to eating a 12-ounce steak, where really a more appropriate size of serving would be 3 ounces. So we're eating about 3 times as much, and I've got a few little
Yeah,
samples
you
here.
wanna
I
show
don't
us
know
here?
if you can. Most of us think of this as about 12 ounces. This is actually
That's a
only
steak.
6 ounces.
Wow.
And so most of us are used to eating about twice that.
Yes.
All right. This is actually considered a serving of meat, which is about 3 ounces.
Okay.
So that is all you really need.
That's all we need.
Right. And so most of us are eating significantly more than that at a
Yes,
time.
yes.
And so that's something to kind of keep in mind as we choose.
So preparing
that.
a dish, let's say for example with fruits and vegetables, I have that small piece of meat,
Right.
the 3 ounces,
Right.
let's say,
Uh-huh.
and then I could fill up my plate with all sorts of vegetables. And nowadays, I don't know, you could put like nuts, all kinds of varieties of nuts.
You
and
can
that's
add
another
some
source.
nuts as a source of protein. Well, the one thing with nuts is you need to stay small in a serving, so no more than fits in the palm of your hand.
Yes.
Because any more of that is going to add a lot of calories. So if you're also looking at calorie control, that's one of the things that you're going to want to think about, as well as not eating a whole lot. Other great sources of protein is beans, legumes, and a lot
What
of us just
did you
don't
just
get
say? Beans and
legumes.
Oh, legumes.
Legumes.
Okay.
That's a big fancy word for beans. Okay.
For beans.
And most of us grew up with beans, maybe baked beans
Yes.
would be all that we saw.
Oh,
that
rice
we
and
used.
beans.
Right, rice and beans
string beans.
is good. Beans are a wonderful protein,
Okay.
and they're very they're a whole food. They're low in calories. They're low in fat, and they will fill you up.
And you could prepare, you could cook these, and you store them in the freezer
Yes.
for several days, so you don't need to
Right.
eat that big amount at once. So
Right.
you have service for
What-
several days.
What I usually do with beans to cook them, now this package has several different types of beans in, so get
Okay.
creative. A lot of us stick to the good old baked beans, or we might have pinto beans. But there are many different kinds of beans out there, and they all taste just a little bit different. So find something that you like.
So let's say, for example, can you give me 2 ways of cooking beans?
Yes, I can. The easiest way to cook beans that I've found is you do need to soak them overnight most of
Okay.
the time, or else it will take you forever to cook the beans. And so what I like to do is I work full time. I'm usually in a hurry. So what I will do is I will put the beans in just a bowl,
Okay.
cover them with water overnight, and then in the morning, drain the water off, put them in the crock pot, cover the crock pot up with water and turn it on, and when I come home I have beans for
Okay.
supper.
And they have beans also when you get like fix your own salad
Yes.
at the delis, like the garbanzos.
Garbanzos are
and other
wonderful.
sort of beans, and you could put them in the salad too. So there's
Yes.
a
you can
different ways.
You can add those to salads. Actually, garbanzo beans are something that's very easy to mash up, and they actually will make a patty. So if you like something that's more like a hamburger type of sandwich that
Yes.
you've eaten before, garbanzos and also lentils will make it into a very inexpensive patty. And you're talking about a lot
So
less
we have a
expense.
lot. We have a lot to choose from.
Right.
But now, if we're on a fixed income, how
Yes.
can we eat healthy, eat the necessary nutrition that we want with a fixed income? Can that be done?
It can be. A lot of people are a little concerned with a fixed income because of the, I have heard so many times that, well, I can't eat healthy because I can't afford it. There's a couple of things that I like you to think about when it comes to expense. One of the first things I think about that's probably one of the healthiest breakfasts you could get and probably one of the least expensive is simple oatmeal. When you buy a box of cereal, whatever, if it's like a Raisin Bran or anything like that, the box usually runs about $4.
Yes.
Even if you get some of the off-brand, and then you're getting a lot of sugar in that. And you're getting a lot of processed. They actually take some of the bran out and some of the other things in the flakes.
And you don't stay full long.
And you don't stay full long.
Depending which
now
one you eat,
I
you
will
don't stay full too
I will
long.
agree that Raisin Bran is probably a better choice than a good old fruity loopy cereal,
Yes,
sugary
okay.
cereal. But one of the things that I tell people to start with when you're talking about breakfast is start with good old-fashioned oatmeal. Okay, if you prefer the quick oats, you can get the quick oats. These are old-fashioned. They take a little bit longer to cook, but a container like this, if you look at the back at the amount of servings, it has 15 servings in, and that will equal a whole cup of cereal, which oatmeal is something that has a lot of fiber, and when you look at the cost of this, it comes out to less than 10 cents a serving.
Wow. So you save. So you could eat healthy, stay on a balanced diet, have a variety to choose, and do it with a fixed income. You do not need to spend too much money.
Right.
Cheryl, yes, is there something else?
I was just, as far as fruits and vegetables
Yes.
are concerned, my grandmother, I use her as a good example. I probably shouldn't, but I do. She always told me, I can't afford fruit, it's too expensive. And yet she would go in and she would purchase a candy bar. And I can tell you, purchasing one apple is less than the
It's
cost
less.
of a candy bar.
Yes, it is. It has less calorie, less sugar, healthier.
And healthier and costs less.
Yes, great.
So,
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for being at Aging Matters today.
Thank you.
With today's topic, what food to choose from. And if you have any questions, you can still call here at 610-378-0426, or you can call Berks County Area Agency on Aging at 610-478-6500, or you can call Cheryl at
Our office number is 610-685-9900.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Before we get off the air, I would like to make a real brief announcement. May is Older Americans Month, and besides that, our agency will be hosting the third centenarian luncheon. So if you are 100, if you are going to be 100, or if you are older than 100, please give us a call, because we would like to make sure that all the centenarians here in Berks County be honored on that day, which is going to be on Tuesday, May 6th. It's a beautiful event. Last year we had 36 centenarians there. And you want to know something, Cheryl? A lot of them, on their response to one of the questions that we asked, what is your secret to living over 100? One of the things that they mentioned was eating healthy. A lot of them, they grew their own fruits and vegetables. So, like we mentioned at the beginning of the program, not only does it help us prevent chronic disease, but it also helps us live longer, live stronger,
Yes, it does.
sharpen our mind. So, don't forget to give us a call at 610-478-6500. You could ask for me, for Carmen Colon, and we'll be glad to give you more information in reference to the Centenarian Luncheon. If you have more questions or would like to get more information over at Adventist Whole Health Network on how to eat healthier, what to do, give us a call, or give Cheryl Goff a call at the number again, Cheryl?
610-685-9900.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.